So today we need to talk about Gentry Williams, the five-star athlete, because there are new developments in his recruiting process, and we have got to get into it because this could be very big for Oklahoma fans. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from y'all. And given the information we're going to talk about today, are you feeling confident that the Sooners are in a great position for Gentry Williams? And let me know what you're thinking there. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, that way you don't miss any of my uploads, because I do constant college football content, and you don't want to miss any of it. And if you enjoy that content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions are huge for content creators such as myself. But with all that being said, let's talk Gentry Williams, because per Brandon Drum of 24/7 Sports, there are some interesting new developments regarding the big 3 to 4 players in Gentry Williams' recruiting process, and those being mainly OU, USC, and LSU. Now, certain other institutions are calling. Florida is really trying to pitch to him. Missouri seems to be a dark horse, but for the most part, LSU, USC, and OU have really made it hard for them not to be contended with. However, good news coming for both USC and Oklahoma, because it has been reported both from Brandon Drum and from the LSU portion of the 24/7 Sports that LSU feels like they're actually falling a little bit behind in the process for Gentry Williams, which, if you are an OU or USC fan, is music to your ears, because you are going up against Corey Raymond whenever you're going up against a DB prospect. And there aren't many other position coaches in the nation that can recruit their position at the level Corey Raymond has. He has a laundry list of 5 stars and high-ranking 4 stars that he has turned in to not only NFL prospects, but first-round NFL prospects. It doesn't matter the institution you hail from, which you do. If you're going up against Corey Raymond, and I'm certainly not saying he's going to win them all, but you will have a very tough battle ahead of you. So the news that Oklahoma and USC are both pulling away from LSU is good news for both institutions. Now, as it concerns Oklahoma, where does Oklahoma stand with Gentry Williams? Well, regarding the last time we talked, I think one of the big things Gentry Williams pointed to, something that I've pointed to, which should make Oklahoma fans feel good, is that he's always loved the Sooners. But the one thing he's really looking for is the evolution of Grinch's defense to continue. He has a phenomenal relationship with Grinch. Anytime he's talking about Grinch, he calls him my guy. And it's really been a trio going after Gentry Williams for the Sooners, the trio being Roy Manning, Alex Grinch, and Lincoln Riley. Now, he's already gotten to spend some time with Lincoln Riley, loved being around Lincoln Riley, said he's one of the best in the business to be around as far as recruiters are concerned, which is something we've heard, right? Recruits are always very highly impressed whenever they're around certain head coaches across the nation, and the trend has continued, and Lincoln Riley has certainly emerged as one of those head coaches. You hear it all the time regarding Lincoln, regarding Dabo, regarding Ryan Day, regarding Nick Saban. And, surprise, surprise, at the end of the day, usually those are your teams that you're always going to see within your top 10. There's a reason why. The ability to recruit, the ability to develop. I digress. Let's focus more on Gentry Williams. Gentry Williams is really looking for the evolution of the Alex Grinch defense. It's great that he already has a great relationship with Alex Grinch. It's great that he has a great relationship with Lincoln Riley. But when you're talking about a 5-star prospect of his caliber, he's really looking to be taken to the next level. Do I believe that OU has the capabilities? Yes, and I haven't had that a secret. It's something we've talked about. I see the way Grinch is taking this defense. I see the vision he has, and I'm down with it. I really like where OU is going. But, we have to be realists at the same time. We're talking recruiting, and it has to get there. It's been trending in the right direction, but it must continue. We cannot just award it based off of the continuation of a positive pattern. The positive pattern has to actually come to fruition, and it looks to have all of the ability to. I think you have all the athletes. I think you have the coaching, and I think you have the schedule really to capitalize and make a fantastic run, and I think this defense will make the positive requisite strides. Remember, the other day we talked about questions for the Oklahoma Sooners, and as it pertains to the defense, I think the question was the defensive backfield, but the answer is also in the defensive backfield. You have very talented players, a little bit of inexperience, but even in your freshmen, very talented, playing well beyond their years, and you have such a dynamic pass rush that will take a lot of pressure off that defensive backfield. I think you are in a phenomenal position, and this hasn't been something that we've hid. So that's the big reason why I think OU is in such a great position for Gentry Williams. He wants to see the evolution of the Grinch defense, but he's already really high on Grinch the guy, Grinch the defensive mind, and the football mind. Already very high on Lincoln Riley, the guy, and the football mind, and he just wants to see this continuation happen. OU fans have to be happy because I think it will happen. The pieces are there, and ultimately, it needs to continue anyway. So this is something that we look forward to, and I have every reason to believe that Gentry Williams will be very satisfied when he sees Alex Grinch's defense continue to progress this year. But that doesn't mean that it's all roses and it's going to be that easy just based off of a defensive continuation and progression, because even though that will be a massive help, Dante Williams is the guy who's taken over for USC on this recruitment, and he has made great strides with Gentry Williams. Now, one thing that I have to wonder when it comes to recruits right now in USC, even though Gentry Williams didn't say this, it's something I've heard from other recruits, and so I have to just wonder this, and this is just me voicing an opinion. Once again, this did not come from Gentry Williams. I wonder how much the NIL legislations are going to affect recruits in deciding where they want to go, because regardless of whether that really takes hold and comes to full fruition this year, it is on the horizon, and it is all the more likely that these kids are going to be some of the first ones to really truly benefit from this NIL legislation. Now, Oklahoma has been working towards passing some NIL legislation at the state level, but as far as I'm aware, and if I am wrong, please comment down below, let me know, because as far as I'm aware and the last I could find, that legislation has pretty much been sidebarred since April 17th. I haven't found any updates on that, but these other institutions and across the nation are racing to pass NIL legislation because they see what is on the forefront, and you do not want to be left behind. But we have heard prospects talk about USC. Not only are they interested in the rebuild USC looks to be doing right now, the question mark being Clay Helton, but hey, if he can put together a positive season, he has certainly been recruiting well. Just pulling the #1 player in the nation, Corey Foreman, doing very well in the transfer portal, just like OU, albeit not as well as OU. OU's done phenomenally in the transfer portal, but USC's done very well in the portal. And then getting in guys in this next class, such as Damani Jackson, someone who Gentry Williams could look at and say, I would love to play with him. So USC is a very real contender, and they are a very real threat. So even though I do believe that OU is in a phenomenal position, because if the biggest thing Gentry Williams wants to see is the continuation of the progression of the Alex Grinch defense, everything is there for us to believe that that continuation will happen. It just has to actually come to fruition on the football field, and we believe it will. I think the big thing I'm questioning right now is if USC can really close the distance on OU, because even though I think USC is a very real threat to OU, I think OU has themselves placed incredibly strategically as far as visits are concerned, and that's why I said earlier at the beginning of this video, I really hope that the OU visits stay the same, with him keeping that Champ U as the unofficial and coming back for the Nebraska as the official. You always want to be the last one, but never ever underestimate the power of an unofficial visit. We get very wrapped up in officials, and for good reason. They are very important because you get a limited number of them. But always watch late unofficial visits, because they can be incredibly telling, and the Sooners are going to be looking to do everything they can to keep Gentry Williams coming on campus. But now, I want to hear from y'all. Given that this looks to be a two-headed race right now between USC and OU, who do you think ultimately wins the battle for Gentry Williams, the incredibly talented 5-star athlete in the class of 2022? This is going to be one of the most interesting races, because this is the year where OU has a lot of eyes on them, not only going into the season and what the product will be on the field, the offense as far as Spencer Rattler and Lincoln Riley, but also Alex Grinch's defense, because people like myself are incredibly interested, and it's not only people like myself, it's recruits, and that makes it all the more important for this to come to fruition, not only for the Sooners in their pursuit of a national championship, but in the pursuit of building something sustainable, to which the Sooners are just on the precipice of the top 4, right? I mean, if you're looking at a team that is just about to break through that top 4, it is the Sooners, because they are perennially, arguably, one of those top 5 teams in the nation any single year, and that's exactly where you want to be. So I'm really interested to see what y'all think. Do you think that OU is going to lock up Gentry Williams, get him a part of this class, and continue sailing? Can't wait to hear from y'all. That's it. See ya.